मम ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Sorry, Hare Krishna. Today we shall be continuing from the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The first canto of Bhagavatam, second chapter, and text number 4 to 7. The theme is devotional service, the supreme occupation for the humanity. So, in text 4, it says, Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudhirayet. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Nar Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasdev, the author. So this is the invocation prayer. Whenever one recites Srimad Bhagavatam or any scriptures, one is supposed to offer respects to the presiding deity, Narayana, the Supreme Lord, is actually the presiding deity and or the worshipful deity of this literature. Krishna, who the original Narayan, he is the main deity of this literature of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Narayan Namaskritam, first of all offering obeisances or respects to Lord Narayan. And then Naram Chaiva Narottama. Then unto Nar Narayan Rishi. Nara and Narottama means Narayan Rishi. So offering respects to Nar Narayan Rishi because let's go to the so offering respect to Nar Narayan Rishi because Nar Narayan Rishi is the presiding deity of the place where Srimad Bhagavatam is being written. So Vyasdev compiled Srimad Bhagavatam in Badrika Ashram on the bank of river Saraswati. So the presiding deity of that place is Nar Narayan Rishi. Therefore, his offering pronounced Nar Narayan. And Devim Saraswati. So the Saraswati is not the deity or the demigoddess in the material. This is offering obeisances to Saraswati, Divya Saraswati, which lives actually in the spiritual world. Because the demigods also, have their existence in the original form in the spiritual world. So there is Divya Saraswati in the spiritual world, the one who actually gave the Gayatri mantra to Lord Brahma in the beginning of creation. So that Divya Saraswati is actually energy of Krishna. So one should actually offer obeisances or pranam to Mother Saraswati. because all the learning, the spiritual wisdom comes by the mercy of Mother Saraswati. And then Devim Saraswati, Vyasam. Vyasa is the compiler, the author of the literature. So offering obeisances to Vyasadeva. Devim Saraswati Vyasa, Tato Jayam. By that one can actually attain the perfection. So this is the way of invocation. One should offer obeisances to the Supreme Lord, to the presiding deity, and to the Narnarayan Rishi, who are the presiding deity, then also to Mother Saraswati and Vyasadeva. So all the Vedic literatures, which also includes the Puranas, are meant for conquering the darkest region of material existence. What do you mean by darkest region of material existence? The darkest region in the material existence is the polluted heart, the polluted mind of the living entity. That is the darkest region. It's much more darker than the hellish conditions of life, the hellish planets of life. So when we say conquering the darkest region, doesn't mean going to a certain region in the universe, some geographical region, and trying to conquer that. No. Here it means the darkest region in the sense our heart, our mind, which is polluted with ignorance, is actually the darkest region. So this polluted mind is the cause of living entities' transmigration to the darkest regions of the universe. The Puranas are the supplementary explanations of the Vedas, intended for different types of men. So Vedas generally are meant for people who are very scholarly, who have good, sense, good sense of philosophical understanding. They can actually take to the study of the Vedas. But Puranas are the explanation of the Vedas only. Same Vedic knowledge is explained, but it is meant for people who are more fond of understanding the subject matter through historical instances or historical evidences in the form of some historical event that took place. They understand the same Vedic knowledge. So Sutta Goswami, he shows the way of chanting the Puranas, as we discussed, by offering pranams. And this should be followed by anyone who intends to explain Srimad Bhagavatam or recite Srimad Bhagavatam to others. And also finally, Srimad Bhagavatam is referred as spotless Purana. Purana Amalam. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu specifically referred Srimad Bhagavatam as Amala Purana, means spotless Purana. And the purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam is, is actually meant for those who desire to get out of the material entanglement permanently. That means people who are interested in going back home, back to Godhead, who do not want to continue living in the material existence. We go to text 5. Munaya sadhu prishtoham bhavadbhi lokamangala yatkrita krishna samprishno yenadma suprasidati. So here, Sutta Goswami actually praising all the sages headed by Shaunak Rishi, because they had asked so many wonderful questions. So he's first of all praising them for samprashna, Krishna samprashna, for asking questions in relationship to Krishna. O sages, I have been justly questioned by you. Your questions are worthy because they relate to Lord Krishna and so are of the relevance to the world's welfare. Only questions of this sort are capable of completely satisfying the self. Okay. Now, this is one of the very instructive and beautiful verses from Srimad Bhagavatam. Yat krita Krishna samprashno yena atma suprasidati. Atma suprasidati. Atma means in Sanskrit the word Atma refers to mind. The Atma refers to intellect. Atma refers to soul. Atma refers to also the Supreme Soul, Shri Krishna. So this can be taken in any of those senses. Yena Atma suprasidati. Here, of course, Prabhupada mentions question of this sort are capable of completely satisfying the self. Prabhupada is referring to the soul, which is actually true. The soul becomes completely satisfied by discussing the subject matter which is being discussed here in these verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. The questions that pertain to Krishna are the sum and substance of all Vedic inquiries. Krishna samprashna. So, the questions that are pertaining to Krishna, they are actually the sum and substance. Bhavadvi Lokamangalam. They are meant for the supreme welfare of the entire creation. And therefore, this is referred as sum and substance. Because anything that satisfies the self or satisfies the Supreme Self, Shri Krishna, that is actually the real sum and substance. And the only subject which can really satisfy the self and the Supreme Self is the subject matter related to Supreme Self, Shri Krishna. In this world, people try so many different ways and means for satisfying their self. In fact, our whole modern civilization is nothing but the result of immense hankering for satisfying the self. But just as a fish taken out of the water, and you may keep inventing newer and newer things to satisfy the fish, the simplest solution is fish returning to the water can make the fish happy and make everything else relevant for the satisfaction of the fish. As long as the fish remains outside of the water, anything you supply, anything you try to invent, whether it the best food, different international qualities of food you offer to fish, while it is out of water, the fish continues to suffer. All the food does not really satisfy the fish. You give different kinds of beverages to drink, the fish continues to be miserable and suffer. You try to invent technology, the different air conditioner to cool, or different gadgets you may introduce, but the fish will continue to be miserable and become more and more miserable as long as it remains outside of water. And if somebody told you simply put the fish back in the water, then fish will be completely happy and satisfied. Even if you did not give any of those things to fish, fish will still be happy and satisfied. One foolish person may find it, what do you mean? This is nonsense. We have so many facilities and you're saying that these cannot satisfy the fish? But that's true. Fish cannot be satisfied outside of the water. Similarly, for the soul, the real water, the real source of nourishment and satisfaction is the topics of Krishna, which is nothing but Srimad Bhagavatam. So because Srimad Bhagavatam is nothing but the topics or the questions and answers related to Krishna, one can derive complete satisfaction by reading, simply by reading and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. You burn away all the literatures of the world. If you have just Srimad Bhagavatam, you will be perfectly happy and fine without any problem. So therefore Srimad Bhagavatam, which is non-different from Krishna, is actually the sum total of all the things in this creation. Okay, so we go to next slide. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur said, life is for the glorification of the top side. If that is stopped, then what need is there to carry on life? Actually, the life is meaningless without the discussion on topics of Srimad Bhagavatam or Krishna Katha. This we can see actually in modern times. In this pandemic time, since last 3 to 4 months, people have been, more or less imprisoned inside their homes. If they go out, there's a fear of getting pandemic or getting disease and dying. Okay? And while living in the home, people who have no access to Krishna consciousness, people who have no knowledge about Krishna consciousness, or those who do not have any sense of Krishna consciousness, for them, these 4 months must have been most miserable experience. And therefore you see people come up with so many jokes and things, that I don't mind dying, but I need to go out. Because people don't understand, people don't have any, what do you call it, means of becoming happy. In fact, since the time the pandemic started, there was headlines in New York City. The New York lawyers were saying their business has expanded. Since the time of pandemic, the business has expanded tremendously. More and more cases of divorce are happening. So their lawyers are keeping actually much more busy. Why? Because people, generally husband and wife, man and woman, they are working. Daytime they disappear, they don't have each other's position. They come together in little while in the evening, then they go to sleep, and they generally do fine. But if they have to live together, with their false ego, with their frustrations, frustrations because of work, frustration because of lack of work, frustration which is resulting from not experiencing the happiness, that makes them completely intolerant. And people are actually miserable because they don't have Krishna consciousness. On the other hand, you see devotees, they do perfectly fine. Even living inside the home for months, they do perfectly fine. In fact, the many of the devotees, they feel much more experience happiness because they're able to engage in more and more devotional service along with their whole family. Of course, now the pandemic is going on, therefore nobody goes out. But I remember in uh, 1995, when I quit my job and I joined the ashram, Brahmacharya ashram in Chapati temple. The day I joined the temple, for 2 months, literally speaking, more than 2 months, I did not even step outside of the temple door. 2 months, I was completely in the temple, fully busy doing service, doing sadhana, hearing, chanting Krishna's glories, and engaging in the different kinds of services. They didn't even consider that I was missing something. And this is in downtown Mumbai. If you step outside of the temple, the life is so much filled with variety and vigor, and people have so many ways and means of enjoyment. I did not even consider, or I didn't even think that I was missing anything. That is the wonder of Krishna consciousness. When you simply engage yourself in hearing and chanting Krishna's glories, you actually don't miss anything. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said, that just as when a hungry person, starts eating the food, he experiences three things: tushti, pushti, shuddhapayo. Three things a person experiences. Tushti, satisfaction. A person feels satisfaction as he starts eating. Say, for example, today is Ekadashi. So some of us, we may not be eating anything. Must be very hungry. Tomorrow morning, when you actually complete the fast during Parana time, when you actually start eating, with every morsel, you feel satisfied. You feel happiness. Tushti. Pushti is mitigation of, pushti is actually feeling strength in the body. Tushti is satisfaction, and pushti means feeling strength in the body. You don't eat anything, you feel naturally weak and not so much strengthful. But every morsel of the food rejuvenates the body. A person feels more and more, strength in the body. And Shuddha Apayo is mitigation of hunger. So three things happen: satisfaction or happiness of eating, mitigation of hunger, and strength in the body. All three happen simultaneously when a person is eating each morsel of the food. Similarly, when a person takes to Krishna consciousness, he experiences three things: devotion, bhakti, no? Bhakti, pareshanubhava, virakti. So, similarly, a person who engaged in Krishna consciousness or worshipping Krishna, he experiences devotion, which is nothing but the source of great joy or happiness. In fact, the greatest joy or happiness comes by devotion. So, bhakti, and it's not just theoretical bhakti, pareshanubhava, para isha anubhava. Para isha means the Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna. Anubhava means experiencing. You don't only read in Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Krishna, God exists. No, you actually start experiencing anubhava, that God exists. You can see the God's presence in your own life, in the life of others, in the life of practically every living entity. And virakti, you automatically become detached from worldly things. Now, but there's one significant thing here. Suppose I'm hungry, I have not eaten anything for many, many days. When I start eating, I do experience the mitigation of hunger, the satisfaction and strength in the body. I experience everything simultaneously. But if I eat only one morsel of food and then stop, I don't eat again, I will get only little satisfaction, little hunger will go away, and little strength will come. Similarly, to the degree a person is practicing devotional service, if somebody practices little bit devotional service, I'll just chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's it. Then I keep the bead bag aside. It's too much. 16 rounds is a lot. I chanted my rounds, finish. So you will experience only this much satisfaction. But to the degree a person engages more and more in devotional service, to that degree a person will experience joy, happiness. The person will experience the presence of Krishna in one's life much more strongly and visibly. And naturally, the person will become more and more detached from more and more worldly things. So if I eat a lot of food, after being hungry, if I eat sumptuous food, then I will have full strength. I will have full experience of mitigation of hunger and complete satisfaction by eating. Similarly, if I engage in intense devotional service, then bhakti, pareshanubhava, virakti, all three a person experiences in completeness. But because people don't have that, they do not have bhakti. Therefore, even a slightest difference of opinion in the family causes tremendous fire among the relationships. So the life is actually meant for glorification of the Supreme Lord. One should try to sincerely engage in the glorification of Hari. Because that is stopped, then life is actually useless. More or less, life is useless. It has no substance in it. Text 6. Savaipumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radokshage ahetuki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. The supreme occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which man can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendental Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. This is the answer to the second question of the sages of Naimisharanya. They had asked the question that what is the final essence of all the scriptures? If you remember, we had discussed 6 questions in the first chapter of Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter. So second question was, what is the essence? So here the essence is being described. The supreme occupation, which is nothing but the essence for all humanity, is that by which man can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendental Lord. So here in this verse, the glory of devotional service is being described. And such devotional service must be unmotivated, without any motive to get something in return, and uninterrupted. Uninterrupted means whether I get apparently some benefit or not, I will never stop. I will continue to render service to the Lord. So how to perform devotional service? So in the first question of the Naimisharana sages, actually not first, the second question it was. So they prescribe the two types of occupation for human beings: pravritti marg and nivritti marg. Pravritti marg is the path of sense enjoyment, and nivritti marg is the path of renunciation. So devotional service to the Lord must be uh, pure in quality. That means without any motive or some expectation in return. Pravritti means I want something in return. But devotional service is uh, more or less kind of a nivritti marg. But of course, not strictly in one way nivritti marg also, because nivritti marg requires a person to renounce everything and go to the forest. So devotional service in spirit is just nivritti marg, but it does allow, in practical life, it does allow the pravritti also. That means a person can continue to have some regulated life of sense gratification, while developing detachment internally. So dharma is that which sustains one's existence. Here in this verse it says, Savai Pumsa Paro Dharmo. Dharma is something that actually sustains everyone's life or everyone's existence. That is called dharma. Dharayati iti dharma. It means something that sustains one's existence. That is called dharana. So here in this verse, that thing is being discussed. Savai Pumsa Paros Dharma. That supreme dharma or supreme occupation is Yato Bhaktir Adokshade. If it does not help to develop bhakti unto Adhokshaja, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then that is useless. So living entity is actually related to the Supreme Lord as servant. And the Supreme Lord is the object of service. So this relation of servant and served is the most congenial form of intimacy. So devotional service, bhakti, which we define, is defined as the servant offering the service to the master. Krishna is Supreme Master and we are servants. So engaging in the service of the Supreme Lord, that is actually the form of intimate service. In fact, in this world you will find this same principle. Wherever there is service, the relationship actually becomes very strong and intimate. The intimacy of the relationship actually is very much dependent on the service. To the degree service is, one is strongly service oriented, to that degree the person actually develops intimacy. For example, if the wife is serving the husband faithfully and loyally in all ways, and nowadays of course, um, the family concept is, people think just eating together, sleeping together, that's a family. But in Vedic culture, the wife would actually render so many different forms of services to the husband. For example, I've seen, we have grown up in the family, in the joint family, so I've seen, like, if nowadays, if the button of the shirt breaks, how often do you see, I mean, of course, I don't get to see, and it mostly doesn't even happen. that the wife will actually take the button and try to stitch the buttons. You know? Or if the husband would come out from working, the wife would generally sometime even massage the feet of the husband. And these small dealings, loving dealings, actually creates a very, very intimate and congenial form of relationship. Because people are forgetting these small principles of service, therefore there are more divorces, more separations, more strained relationships, because there is no service. And when we actually learn these principles of service, we actually develop the sense of performing devotional service. I remember in my childhood days, my cousin sisters, they would teach me. I learned so many different art crafts from them. So many things I learned from them. How to make your own chandelier at home. Taking different useless things from the home, you can make chandelier. You can make so many decorative things in the home. And in our Krishna consciousness, we have so much scope. We have deities, right? We have deities at home. We can actually make their clothings. We can make their jewelry. We can create so many different artifacts for decorating the temple hall or temple room of our deities. We think, oh, no, who has time? I will spend money and get it from outside, which is also good in one way, nothing wrong with that. But the intimacy does not develop. The intimacy develops by service. Servant and the object of service, the master. This is this is actually most misunderstood form of relationship in current society. People think if I'm servant, I'm subjected to exploitation, which is true. And it happens, in the modern time, people are so exploitative to the servants. So therefore, servant always thinks of how I can actually protect my interest. But the faithful and loyal service is something that creates intimacy in relationship. So when you actually start meditating and doing service to your deities, to Krishna, making a simple dress, you may not make a very opulent dress. Even if you make a simple dress for the deities, it gives so much satisfaction when you see the dress being worn by the Lord. So it doesn't have to be very, even if I don't have much sense. I remember, in our childhood, we used to make, with my cousin brothers and cousin sisters, when I used to go to, in summer vacation to visit them. We would make so many things. So just having a small decoration in the home would give so much satisfaction. How 2 months of summer vacation would go away, we won't even realize. So this is actually a very crucial principle. How to perform devotional service is by thinking, putting our intelligence or thinking power into doing even small services unto the Supreme Lord. I remember, a few months back, in our home, we have the altar, we have the deity's altar, but we don't have any curtain in front of them. So we had one, foldable, wall divider curtain, which was not in a very good condition. So when my wife actually ordered, once she ordered very beautifully wooden carving, which was like a room divider for using as a curtain for the deities, because the altar is very big. So we needed something which is very tall and which can actually cover the, so she ordered once. The foldable panel that came, it had some defect. So she sent it back. And after some time, she ordered and found another one, wooden carving, beautiful one. She ordered. They sent a different color, which was not at all acceptable to her. So she sent it back. So finally, I understood that Krishna, twice he made it that curtain should go back. So Krishna wants us to do something. So I took it, that old curtain, the foldable curtain that we had, and worked on it for at least, I worked for more than 2.5 months and created something that looks very nice. And now when we use that foldable curtain for the deities, I feel a lot of satisfaction. So it almost for 2 months, 2.5 months, it was effort. It was a lot of effort, utilizing some intelligence, how to design it and all, how to make it more nice and beautiful. Some intelligence went, some effort went in, but it looks beautiful now and feels satisfied. So this is the way we actually develop intimacy in service. Text 7. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitah Janayati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayadahetukam. By rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead Shri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. So the natural result of devotional service is being explained here. So bhakti or devotional service is not an emotional affair. So it's not that, oh, I feel love for Krishna, but I don't feel love. No. It's not just an emotion. Devotion is not an emotion. Bhakti is not just an emotion. Bhakti is devotional. That means full of emotion, but it is service. Bhakti cult is the topmost of all transcendental activities. And therefore, it is simultaneously sublime and easy. Sublime means even if somebody is a pure devotee can still practice bhakti. Somebody is a neophyte, it's very easy to perform. Now say how it is easy to perform. For example, now Navada Bhakti, for example, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, hearing about Krishna, speaking about Krishna, which is very easily done by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Simply by chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, one can practice hearing and chanting Krishna's glories. Now, is it really difficult to pronounce Hare Krishna Mahamantra? Does it require any high education or high qualification? No. It only consists of 3 words, Hare, Krishna, and Rama, arranged in a mantra pattern. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's a simple mantra. Doesn't require any tremendous amount of training to chant this mantra. Anyone can learn. Does it require huge effort to chant this mantra? No. Does it require huge effort to hear that mantra when you are chanting? No. It is so easy. Simply chant the Hare Krishna mantra and hear it attentively. That's it. Even a neophyte can do it. Only very rare, unfortunate people who are deaf or dumb or both, deaf and dumb, for them it may be difficult. For them it's not possible actually to perform hearing and chanting. They can do others, but hearing chanting is not possible. No? But how many people in this world are deaf and dumb? So in general, it's easy. It's possible for anyone and everyone to perform. To achieve the contact of Supreme Personality of Godhead Shri Krishna, is a great science, and it is open for all living beings. So this chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the easiest way to connect ourselves with God. Many times people say, show me God. I remember when I used to go to college preaching, young boys and girls, sometimes they would challenge, show me God. Where is God? God doesn't exist actually. If he exists, show me. You see, everything cannot be just simply seen with our eyes. A few days back, my wife was making bread. She was baking the bread. So she had iron. She was making, what do you call, sourdough bread. So for that, she has a very thick iron pot. It's kind of an iron pot in which she bakes the bread. So it has a cover also. So it's beautiful, like beautiful color pot. The whole metal itself has shining color. So it was hot and I didn't realize because it looks metal only. So I simply touched it, the corner. It was so hot, practically burned my finger. So appearing to be just metal, and it was a little cool in the morning. That day was a little cool, so I thought it's metal, so it should be okay. I was trying to touch the pot and see how it is. Practically burned my finger. So can I see the heat of the pot? No. When I touch it, then I experience. Similarly, the live wire is there. The live wire is running through here. Can I see the current? No. If I touch it, I will feel. Similarly, this chanting of Hare Krishna, it may appear it's just like any ordinary sound vibration. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It appears to be same sound vibration, but it is like the live wire. You touch it, you will get shock. Anyone who continues to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and hear it will actually get connected with Krishna, get electrified. Because Krishna's holy name is spiritual. And when we chant the spiritual holy name of Krishna and we hear it, we also become spiritualized. Other high-grade activities designated as sacrifice, charity, austerity, these are all corollary factors. They are corollary factors because they are, conducive, they are helpful, but they are not the cause of bhakti. One cannot expect that if I continue giving charity, I will become devotee of Krishna. No. If I continue performing austerities, I fast completely, or I, stand in the heat, or stand in the cold water in the winter time, or taking cold shower in the winter time. All that austerity, or even performing sacrifice, or performing charity, one cannot become pure devotee of Krishna by any of those things. Bhakti is caused by bhakti alone. One cannot expect to develop bhakti or devotional service by performing any of these activities, not even by the mercy of Krishna. Vaishnava Acharyas explain, one does not develop bhakti by mercy of Krishna. If that was the case, then Krishna would be considered partial. Why is giving bhakti to somebody, doesn't give to everyone? Somebody else does not get bhakti. Krishna's mercy is not the cause of bhakti. Bhakti is caused by only bhakti itself. That means if somebody has bhakti, somebody has devotional service, that means a devotee. Through him we can get bhakti because he has bhakti. So the only cause of bhakti is bhakti. So when we come in contact with a bhakta or a devotee who is practicing bhakti or devotional service, he tells us the process of bhakti. We adopt that process, which is also nothing but bhakti. It's called sadhana bhakti. If we continue the sadhana bhakti, we develop prema bhakti. Technically speaking, there is absolutely no difference between prema bhakti and sadhana bhakti. Because sadhaka also chants Hare Krishna, a devotee who develops prema bhakti also chants Hare Krishna. So in that way, there is no difference. The only difference is one is doing out of compulsion as sadhana, other is doing out of love. But this love also develops because of sadhana bhakti only. So when a person continues to practice sadhana bhakti, eventually develops prema bhakti. The principles of knowledge and detachment are two important factors. The two important factors on the path of transcendental realization. So, when a person is practicing self-realization or God realization, knowledge and detachment are very, very important factors. Especially for karma yogis, jnana yogis, and dhyana yogis. These two things are very important. They have to cultivate these two things in order to progress in their path of karma, jnana, or ashtanga yoga. For example, karma yogi means a person who detaches himself from the fruits of his karma and renounces the fruits of his karma for the sake of others or the sake of the Supreme Lord. Karma, And then Jnana Yoga means a person has to actually acquire Jnana. One has to study scriptures, study a lot of books in the scriptures. And similarly, Dhyana Yoga, a person has to renounce his family life and go to forest, become completely detached from the family. So one has to cultivate before, knowledge and detachment has to be cultivated before or during the process. But in the process of Krishna consciousness, as is described in this verse, Janayati asu vairagyam jnanam chayadahetuka. One automatically develops detachment and knowledge. So nashkarma means, not undertaking activities that will produce some good or bad effect. That's called nashkarma. Nashkarma actually means karma yoga. But in the process of bhakti, the jnana and vairagya, they are automatically developed. A person practicing bhakti does not have to strive for getting jnana and vairagya. And bhakti is meant for realization of positive forms. That is form of Krishna. Then all the negative forms automatically they get vanquished or eliminated. So this is actually the sum and substance. So bhakti is the supermost occupation of human beings. This is actually the topmost what do you call occupation for the human beings. That is what is being described in the 7th verse. Savaipamsa paro dharma. Paro dharma. It's a supreme most occupation for all the humanity. So I think we'll stop here. If anyone has any questions, you may ask.